Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Shabbat study on the little season which is in Revelation. Just to remind you where we left off, so we had a class talking about the bottomless pit, and we mentioned that Satan, when he's thrown in the bottomless pit here, he will be led for a day, he will stay a day in this prison and he will walk out for a little season. So we are continuing from here to explain what the little season mean in the Bible. So we'll go to our topic here, which is this slide here. So on my right hand side here, you can see the chair, which is the chair for judgment for the soul. So you can only have a soul if somebody is dead. So these are the souls who have been decapitated and they are in heaven crying um, that they should get their judgment on that day. So, as you can see from the left hand side here, that picture just depicts the souls which are going to heaven being given judgment. And the last third picture here is what was happening one time in Turkey, where the Turkish government and the Palestinians they had gathered together and they are rioting against Israel. So we have got already Satan as has approached already Gog in the land of Magog as the chief for Meshach and Tubal to convince fourth part of the earth that they should go and fight this war. So in the little season is where we see why Satan, as Revelation 6 chapter 9 mentioned. So let's read this, then we continue with our discussion.
Revelation 6:9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Jehovah and for the testimony which they held.
So in continuing after that reading, the point I want you to take out is that which I've mentioned that they saw of them. These are the people who were decapitated in the first resurrection and they were in heaven and they were waiting to start the judgment. So in the next verse in Revelation 6:10, the souls of them they are now ex- um, talking to Jehovah that they need their judgment, their authority and revenge for that day so that it can be carried out, which Jehovah promised them that they would be given. So let's read uh, Revelation chapter 6, verse 10.
Revelation 6:10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Jehovah, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?
So from that reading, it's very clear that the souls are asking Jehovah to judge and avenge. Hence, John was seeing them all wearing white robes and sitting in the chair. Now, let's continue reading to Revelation chapter 6, verse 11 to find out more what is going to happen.
Revelation 6:11. And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
So as we can see, this verse in Revelation chapter 6, verse 11, it mentions all the ingredients for us to understand what is happening here. We see that the white robes, so the souls are given white robe, which suggests that the souls, when they go to heaven, they are given a different body. That's why they are given the white robes. So they are human, but with a different body which they are given than the one which died, which will decay in the earth. So everyone else who dies goes to heaven and he's saved. He's given a different body. But these were they were given a white robe to signify either their purity and also what they have gone through to suffer, because not every soul is given the white robe. It's a different honor. And the verse says they should rest yet for a little season. So this little season we are talking about is the season that the judgment for the soul is not happening, but they should wait. Why should they wait? Until their fellow servants, also their brethren, that should be killed as they were. How were they killed? They were killed through decapitation. Their body was separated from the head because that's how they were killed. And this we know that is very common with the Ottoman Empire. Most of the Muslims, they through the Quran and other hadith, that they should meet the unbelievers and they should uh, chop chop off their arms and legs and also the head. So it's a common way of humiliating in decapitation, which ISIS has done in the past, and it's not something new. It's something which has been done long time ago since Muhammad also came on the scene. For comments on that, you can read lots of documentation through the Islamic sources like the Hadith, the Quran, and even just Google online. You should be able to find lots of examples for that. So this is going to be fulfilled. There is no two ways about it that people will say, no, don't kill me. People are not going to get no. This will be fulfilled. Some people, their necks will be chopped off. These will be Christians who join the other brethren in the soul. So we need to be praying all the time that if it is your turn or if it is you, you should be able to surpass this trial. So in Revelation 20, chapter 3, let's see again what is happening to Satan at this time frame for the little season. So let's read Revelation 20, verse 3.
Revelation 20, verse 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosened a little season.
So we can see that as the chapter was being read, you see there just quoting a few sentences just to make it clear. And cast him, which him? That's not John. That's not the angel who bound Satan, but this is Satan himself. The old dragon is being thrown into the bottomless pit. As I mentioned already, the bottomless pit here is the lower part of the prison, which is the Roman prison, which they did. If you are thrown into that dungeon, you won't know where is your bottomless. It's all dark. So that's where bottomless pit, as we mentioned, implies. So in the little season here, we see that Satan is thrown in the bottomless pit, and then there's the angel set a seal upon him. So this is interesting because he is not the first one God to put a seal upon him. Cain, if you remember Cain, when he killed his brother Abel, he was set with a seal so that people should kill him. So there is such a thing as being set a seal so that action could be done on you. So likewise, also Satan here is being given a seal so that for him he should not deceive the nations no more. So after the 1,000 years, which we know is a day, he will be loosened in a little season. So he's been loosened at the same time the souls in the white robe are resting. When Satan is loosened in the little season, there is nothing he can do. He cannot go again to Gog and Magog and convince them like last time, which is in this picture, to convince them to go after Jerusalem, to wipe Jerusalem, to have a war with Jerusalem. Satan this time around won't have that capability. So let's look into Revelation 25 to see what Satan will do, because he is not going to be convincing Gog for the land of Magog to go against Jerusalem. So let's read Revelation 20, verse 5.
But the rest of the dead lived on not again. Their souls didn't make it into the book of life until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
Now, this verse, which is in Revelation 20, verse 5, is a different verse to other verses we have met in this study. Because here, if you see some of the things this verse is narrating, is this is the first resurrection. I didn't know that we had the first resurrection done already. What we are waiting for is the second one, if the first was done. So let's see what it means by first resurrection. Then also the other thing we need to bear in mind is 1,000 years were finished. So we discussed that 1,000 years is a day. So here it says, but the rest of the dead lived not again. So if they are dead in Bible, if you are dead, that means you are a sinner. You are not in the book of life. So after the war, after everything has been, there was a war going on where Satan has gone to Jerusalem with the Gog to kill other people. Some people will be killed, but they are not going to be saved because they were not part of they were not in the book of life. They are not part of the souls we are talking about. So we have to bear in mind that our deeds are not going to be left unpunished. If you don't follow what Christ wants you to do, you'll be left. If you are dead, that means you haven't made it. So not everyone else will make it. Some people will make it, some people won't make it, but that's the choice the Jesus Christ will do in his grace to save us, and we make our choice and we will live with our choice, whether it's good or bad. But the revelation is here categorically saying some people won't make it. That's why they didn't live not again, because that was their first and last. So here, until the 1,000 years, now the judgment is only a day. That's what it means by 1,000 years. It means you don't need to worry. This will all happen in a day. So we'll come back to look at the day when we start looking at Isaiah, especially talking about the day of Jehovah, which is the day when um, Christ's army is coming on earth against the Gog with his armies to attack Israel. So in the next study, that's what we are going to be studying. So with that, I thank you for viewing.